Crystal and your girl Kimmy. Today I want to talk to you guys about being authentic. I'm so happy to talk about this segment because this is the things that I live by, breathe by, die for. I love talking about being authentic because I believe that people should be authentic and live their best lives. So Kim, let's talk about what it means to be authentic. What does it mean to you to be authentic?
For me, I have this saying: be unapologetically yourself,
Okay.
or be yourself unapologetically.
Yes.
However you want to put it, in whatever order you want to put it in. It's kind
Yeah.
of, for those of you all who know me and follow me on Instagram, you will see that it's all or nothing with me. Take it or leave it. Those are little things that I say because I am so far beyond the
Yes.
pretend, the fake
Mm-hmm.
it until you make it type of
Yeah.
things, even though I believe all those things are important as you
Yeah.
learn to become yourself, you go through
Yeah.
stages. But being authentic means that if someone were to ask you a question, you answer it
Keep it
honestly.
real.
You
Yeah.
answer it honestly
Right.
and as professionally as you can, depending on the
Right.
setting. If it's your
Personal and professional.
girlfriends, you answer it
Yeah.
as honestly and as who you are. But being
Yeah.
authentic aligns with being true to yourself, true to what you feel in your heart, and also being able to
Yes.
allow
Yes.
yourself the permission to verbalize that. We're in a
But hold
verbal
on.
world,
But hold on.
where
Let's
people
not
want to
move too
know.
fast. But
Go
let's
ahead.
not
I'm
move
sorry.
too fast. Let's not move too fast because being authentic, everyone is not going to be for you, and it's okay. And that's something that I don't want to miss that part because you hit something profound. Is like be true to yourself and also
Yes,
being honest and understanding that everybody's not going to be for you. Everybody's not going to like you. You know what I'm saying?
that is
So
so true.
you may say things that you feel strongly about, and that's okay. But everybody's not going to receive that information the way you intended because everybody's thought process is different. But with that being
Absolutely.
said, is that people that are for you, and people that are not for you are not for you. And that's the things that I've been talking to you about when we talk about the motivation, the real estate, and stuff like that. And all the things that we talk about is that I may entertain people that is for me, but everybody's not going to like Crystal. But guess what?
Everybody.
Crystal is okay knowing that. I'm okay because I know that I don't have to please everybody. I know that I don't have to beg everybody for friendship. And I'm okay. If the world was just me, I'll be okay because I'm okay with me. But again, it
Yes.
takes time to get to those steps. You have to like I think I want to say the majority of that was in the 8th grade. And I remember one of my friends named Kamika, she's like, Crystal, you just changed. You changed. You don't hang around the same people. You don't say the same things. You don't something that summer happened where I changed.
Yeah.
And I started not necessarily living for myself, but my brain, something happened on the inside, and that was good with me. So if you don't like the way I dress, if you don't like the way I talk, if you don't like the way I look, if you don't like my just the things about me, like if I walk into the room, you don't like me, that's on you. That has nothing to do with me. That's a you thing. Getting to
Hmm.
that point, I think people need to understand how to get to that point, and that takes deeper personal development. So
It does.
let's start there. How do you
It
get to
does.
that point?
And it happens at different stages for different
Yeah.
individuals. Like me, I went through a whole lot of different stages.
Okay.
In high school and in college, I participated in a lot of activities
Yes.
that made me popular by association.
Yes.
In the South, we have a dance style that's called being a majorette. I was a majorette in high school. I was a
Hmm.
J-Sed at college. And so I was popular by demand.
Yeah.
People liked me because of the things I did. And they
Yeah.
felt like they knew me
Yeah.
from when they saw me in those
The
atmospheres. But
perception.
that was really not who I was.
Yeah, that was a
At a young
perception.
age, my mind was on business, but I didn't know how
Yeah.
to develop it. I didn't know, and it made me in some instance a loner in a lot of different ways. I had
Absolutely.
sorority sisters, I had friends, I had people that I could hang around, but they knew me as those people. They
I
didn't
understand
know
that.
who the authentic person was. So I will say, after I started getting further along in my career and
Yeah.
I became a mother, then
Yeah.
I started like, you know what?
Yep.
A lot of people don't really know who I am, who the real
No.
person
But
is.
let me ask you something. Do they need to? The question is, do they need to know who you are?
Well,
And
at the point at this time in the development of my journey, I didn't
yeah,
know. I didn't know. I didn't know. I knew I was likable, but I
yeah.
didn't know. And I knew that I was like one person everywhere I went. Like
Oh,
it's like being in a movie. There was a
yeah.
role. There
But
was a
doesn't that get
role for
exhausting?
work.
But
There was
doesn't that,
work. It
well, let
was
me ask you
exhausting.
something.
Yes,
That gets
yes.
exhausting. That
It
gets
was a role for
something.
work, a role for mommy, a
Yep,
role for family, a role for friends, you know.
yep.
And then I would say somewhere one day I woke up and I was like, you know what? It is, I think Mary J. Blige had a song. I said it's all or nothing at all, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that
yeah.
stuck with me. And I started being like, you know, this is who I am. And this is who I'm gonna be in every Kim is gonna go to work. She's
Yeah.
gonna go where her friends are. She's gonna go where and it's you interestingly said something about, you know, people
What?
do not respond to you well all the time.
But
So
they don't have
I
to. They don't
I
have to.
but when you come to that stage, that's when you realize that you don't have to like me. I'm
Right,
okay.
exactly.
I like the way I look. I started telling myself in the mirror, I like the way I look in these clothes.
Exactly.
I like the way I look in this shirt. I
Absolutely.
have, yeah, I had these little, you know what the ladies have, the little, what do we call it, the little bra
I don't
strap
have, oh yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. And I at one time I wouldn't wear tank tops because of it. And then I started putting on the tank tops and I'm like, I like the way I look. I like the way the little bra fat looks right there.
Um,
I'm gonna wear
let me
a
share a
tank
story
top.
with
So
you. Can I share
once you
something with
get to
you?
this, yeah, once you get to the stage, you don't need the validation of anybody else. Once you're okay with being
Mm-hmm.
authentic, and I pray that our listeners and watchers are figuring out how to do this earlier rather than later. And if you
Yeah.
haven't figured out, I hope you get brave enough to be authentic and be true to yourself because like you said, it is exhausting to have a character for every different aspect
It
of
is
your
because
life.
it's a mask. This is like Halloween, right? You wear this
Yeah.
mask, right? And you try to pretend that you're somebody that you're not, or you try to be with the imposter syndrome, right? Where you're like putting on a show where you're like a puppet and you're experiencing so much energy levels. It's exhausting. When you sit down,
Yeah.
you about to fall out and panic because there's so many, you're like a cat. You're living live lives and you can't even keep up.
Can't
And you
even
have
keep up.
told yourself so much lies that you believe it, right? You don't
Mm-hmm.
even know who you
Mm-hmm.
are. You haven't
Yep.
even identified what you like because you're convinced that you like what she likes, what he likes, what they like, what they want you to be. The makeup of it all is a lot of stress. But I want to talk to you about an experience because this is about being authentic. And one of the memories that I had as a child was when I got in a really bad, car accident, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to show everybody this scar. Can you see it? My fat arm. I have a little. I have a scar here that used to keloid up. And so what happened was I got in this accident and I had a nasty scar here and I felt like people didn't want to talk to me. In my head, I felt like, oh my God, if people see this, they're not going to want to talk to me, right? And so in 100-degree weather, when I was running track, I would cover it up, whatever, and have like a hoodie on. Or if I was in the classroom, and you know how girls with that spaghetti strap
Yeah.
shirts,
Shirts.
in the summertime trying to be cute, I would cover it up with like a jean jacket or something like that because I didn't want people to see it. And I remember, when I was running track or playing sports, people would ask me, "But what is that?" "Oh, you have a bug on your shoulder," and they would try to flick it off, but it wasn't a bug; it was my skin because I keloid, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me feel, insecure, even though it wasn't my face. It just made me feel insecure where I got keloid shots and I worked through it and now it's flat. But what happened was the reason why I bring this story up because I went to the stage of caring what other people think. And because I cared what other people think about my scar, about my wound, I was willing to basically fall out in 100-degree weather. And I didn't go certain places. Like I didn't want to wear a bathing suit. I didn't want people to see it. I thought that I wouldn't have a boyfriend because he
Mm-hmm.
would look at my scar and be like, "Oh, that is so ugly," stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then finally, one day, I just took it off. And I was like, this is my scar. This is who I am. It got so hard to fake it. It got so hard to pretend. I just couldn't do it anymore. And when you get to that point of realness and be like, you know what, F it. I don't care what nobody thinks. If you don't like me because I have a scar on my shoulder, that's your issue. You know what I mean? That's
Absolutely.
your, what is it? What is the word that they use? You're being shallow. I thought
Mm-hmm.
people were going to be
Mm-hmm.
shallow against me. But sometimes you make things up in your head because you're so consumed about what other people think about you that you're not centered around what you need to think of yourself. How do Crystal feel about Crystal? And I said, you know what? I feel good about me. I'm not worried about this anymore. You know, there's a couple things I wanted to do, I didn't do. I quit like the cheerleading squad, you know, because I had this on my shoulder and I didn't want people to see it. I made irrational decisions because of fear. And again, when you are afraid of things, you make irrational decision making sometimes.
Absolutely.
Which
Absolutely.
change the path of where you
Yeah.
need to go because of foolishness. You
Yeah.
know?
And you use an example from your past. I'll use one from mine. Mine was my freckles.
Yeah. And they're
You
so
know,
beautiful. We both
kids,
got freckles.
kids are mean growing up, you know. So you have freckles and that. It was this, what was the puppets, Fraggle Rock, down in
Okay.
Fraggle Rock, you know, Strawberry Shortcake had freckles, you know.
Yeah.
So Rainbow Bright had freckles. So, you know,
Yeah.
everybody, I was everything except Kim
Yeah.
to and then when I became, I want to say like ninth or 10th grade, I started looking at my freckles. I'm like, man, these are pretty. I know people who are using eyeliner to put freckles on their face, you
Exactly.
know? So I was
Yeah.
like, this is beautiful. And the more I embraced it, the more I found out that there were other people who actually saw beauty in that. But I think when you're learning to be authentic and you're focusing on what is considered or what you've considered in your mind as a flaw, that
Yeah.
seems to be what everyone is pointing out. When you
Exactly.
learn to be
Exactly.
authentic, those people who are for you, they see
Mm-hmm.
the beauty in those things that you never even thought about, you know,
Mm-hmm.
up front. So once I started embracing that, yes, these are my freckles, they are beautiful. You wish you
Yes.
had some just like me. Then I started finding out that people actually think these freckles are kind of cute, you know?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
but it's different levels that you learn to
Yeah.
turn on at different times. For a long time, I would never, ever, ever wear shorts. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I would not wear shorts because I have these big old nice thighs and little baseball bat size
Yeah.
legs at the bottom, you know. And so um it was an insecurity that I
Yeah.
had of myself. And then when I got to college and I started wearing shorts, or I
Yeah.
started, you know, marching the band, everybody would be like, oh, you have beautiful legs. Your legs are so
Yeah.
beautiful. You know, how did you get those beautiful? Do you run? Do you? And I was
Yeah.
thinking to myself, well,
Run
you know,
track.
as a matter of fact, I do. And
Yeah.
so what I used to hide became something that I found out that once I learned to embrace it, there
Yeah.
are people out there who feel the same way or who are going through the
Absolutely.
same struggle.
Absolutely.
And they're just waiting on somebody else, you know, to take their mask off so
Yeah.
that they can get comfortable with it too. So I would say being authentic, one, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to tell you who your true people are, who your true
Yeah.
friends are, who the true people are for you, because those are the people that are going to be there regardless.
But you free yourself though
Yes,
when
you
you are
free
living your
yourself immediately.
let's talk about that about freeing yourself because when you're living this lie, it's hard to keep it up. You have to free yourself, and one of the steps that you do as far as that alignment with oneself is being comfortable with who you are, getting to
Mm.
that point where you can say, "I'm gay. I've got issues. I've got anxiety. I'm suffering from this." Because there's a lot of people that are suffering the same issues or insecurities as you.
And suffering
You
in
know,
silence.
another thing you can do is, you know, chase your dreams and not somebody else's. When you are authentic, you're tracing what you love, your passions, the things that you like to do. You know, you don't just jump on to what somebody else is doing. You align with what you want to do because your
Yes.
passion, your level of likiness for something is going to be different. Like, for example, for me, you know, there's a lot of things that I wanted to do out there. I was like, okay, let me try real estate. Got my real estate license. Let me try my insurance. You have to try different things to see what you like. And I realized that when you do something for the money, it is never going to last. You got to do something that you're passionate about. I'm passionate about people. I'm
Woo.
passionate about, you know, share my genius with the world and making a better place for the environment and just things of that I'm passionate about. And I had to find my why. I had to find what I was passionate about. And that's helping people rebuild their self-esteem. I found my love in that. It took me a journey to get there and do my
Yes.
own journey because I was mentoring, I was helping people, I was saving people, I was doing a lot of things from my childhood to my adulthood, you know, under the radar. But I'm gonna tell you what happened to me. I'm gonna tell you when I hit my breakthrough. And when I found what I was really passionate about was When I had my last child, the fourth one that cracked me, and I went through personal development. And through that own personal development, I found myself and my true passion for people and like
Absolutely.
helping people rebuild their self-esteem because I went through postpartum. And that's something I've been very open about,
Mm-hmm.
postpartum, and that caused anxiety and all this other stuff. And we'll talk about that in some later segments. But the reason why I'm saying is that I'm chasing my dream. I know that this aligns because my vibrations. I'm passionate
Yes,
about it. I love doing it. I could do this in my sleep. If no one paid me for it, I would do it for free.
still
That's how I
do it.
know this is for me. When I was chasing an insurance company and got my insurance license, it was hard work. I was cracking it, busting heads, trying to build an organization, but it was I forcing myself. I was forcing myself to do it because the money was good, but it wasn't me. And when the
Mhm.
money, and when you put money in front of the passion, you will never win. I wasn't
Yeah,
authentic. I was great at what I was doing, but it wasn't me. You have to
yeah.
find your passion. You have to find your love. You have to find the thing that makes you move in life.
Yeah,
Find your
and
dream.
and don't be afraid to activate it. Turn it on
Yeah.
and just let it lead you because, even though it took you that long to find it, I met you a lot sooner. I met
Yep.
you a lot earlier in your career, but
Yeah.
the thing about it is that was who you were
At
then.
that time. At
That
that
was
time.
who you were then. You did not have on your "this is me, this is I am Crystal Bean, accept me for who I am." But when you talked, it radiated off of you. It was important
Yeah.
for you to know, how are you doing today? How
Yeah.
is life treating you? How is the
Mhm.
job treating you? Like Crystal, I could hear you coming in the hallway before you got to me. Good morning, good morning. I say, "Oh, Crystal's in," but it was who you were. You just didn't have the right situation to activate that mask off type
Exactly.
of take it or
It
who
was
it is.
always there. It was
And it's
always there.
always there. So
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to pull out of what you said, so that for the people who are struggling to figure it out,
Yeah.
it's there. It's
Yeah.
there. Dig deeper, put yourself in situations that allow
Yeah.
you to be uncomfortable, because
Yeah.
usually that is what brings it out. It's
And I was
doing something
uncomfortable.
that you're
Right. Yeah.
avoiding
One
doing.
second, Kim.
Yeah.
I was uncomfortable because I was going through postpartum. I was going through personal development. I was digging deep. I was doing a lot of things that I didn't want to do. I was meditating. I was sitting in the front of the beach in California, and I would go to the beach and meditate. It was a lot of things that I was doing in order to get to this point and to find my truth. And I'm going to tell you something, regardless whether you find your truth or not,
Mhm.
everybody's not going to be for you. The friends that you have, they may not agree with you. It's like, okay, well, what is Crystal doing now? What is she doing now? And be careful of sharing your blessing. Be
Right.
careful of sharing your purposes. Sometimes you got to move in silence, and
In
that's okay too.
silence.
Because someone told me, Crystal, well, there's a lot of life coaches because of COVID. There's a lot of life coaches. There's a lot of motivational speakers. What's going to make you unique from everybody else? It's so saturated. I'm not worried about if it's saturated or not. I'm worried about Crystal. The people that is for Crystal is going to be for Crystal. I'm not worried about if it's saturated or not
Yeah.
because I can help the people
Crystal,
that I can help. This is my passion. This is my love. I'm not
yeah.
concerned about that. I'm concerned about what Crystal is doing.
You
You know
know,
what I mean?
I use the saying, I think it's Tony Robbins. He says, if you think an industry is saturated, walk down the bread aisle. You know,
Uh-huh.
how many different brands do you see? But you always go to the one that you want to try.
That you
You see
resonate with.
somebody else come pick another one that they want to try. It
Yes.
doesn't matter. Saturation and whatever the definition is outside of cooking, saturation does not matter. Okay,
No.
because in this instance, there is somebody out there who is
Mm-hmm.
looking for a you, whatever
Exactly.
that you is. I was
Exactly.
having a discussion with one of my mentees this morning where, she was just really wondering, why does all the bad stuff keep happening to
Mm.
me?
Mm-hmm.
Before, one said she felt like she was in a period of rejection. This time,
Oh,
this morning, another one, she was just like, I feel like everything is bad is happening to me. I'm doing things right. I'm doing
yeah.
things the right way. I'm going to work when I should go. I'm
Yeah.
outperforming most people.
Yeah.
And she was
Yeah.
like, she even used the example. She says, I have some family members who are playing the system and it seems like they're getting ahead. I said, well, I said, I had to think about it when I was learning and becoming who I was. Why am I
Hmm.
going through all this stuff? It's because I have to relate to somebody else who's going through the
Exactly.
same thing. And that
Exactly.
one person who's going through something like I was going through, they're going to
Yeah.
pick me. They're going to pick
Exactly.
me. I need you
Exactly.
to help me. I want to hear what you have to say. And when you become authentic and embracing those struggles who have
Yes.
made you who you are, those blemishes that have,
Hmm. Hmm.
created an everlasting mark on your memory. I
Yes.
love my blemishes because they help me make better decisions for the next time
Absolutely.
when I didn't get
Absolutely.
something right. You talk about the money and doing
Yeah.
things for the money.
Yep.
I am queen of telling you now, if I just want to go out and make some bread, I can do that tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
It's easier to make $10,000 than it is to invest it and get it back. You can go out
Okay.
and make it tomorrow, but it may cost me mental stability. It may
Yeah.
cost me,
Stress.
I might
Headache.
have to put the mask back on for a little while,
Yep.
and it's like, who wants to do that? I
No. It's
am,
hard to be a puffin face. It's real hard to
yes.
be, I'm gonna call it a puffin face. It's hard to do that. But
It's
let's
hard
talk
to,
about
especially
connections.
especially when you have embraced who you are and your authentic self, and you're
Hmm.
okay, like you said, this is who I am. World, accept me
That's it.
or leave me alone. Once you get to that stage, it is hard to go back to
Yes, it
Mr.
is.
Puppet Face or
Fake it.
Mrs. Puppet Face. It's hard
Yeah,
to go
it's
back
hard.
to,
It's hard.
and you realize that it's an unhappy place to
But
be.
here's the thing. Let's talk about when you said it's hard. It's hard to go back to that, and it's hard to center yourself around people that you know that are fake too.
Yes.
Because now you start seeking more people that's authentic, that tells their truth, and just keeping it real. You don't want to center yourself around people just to center yourself around those people.
Yes.
You are attracted to people that are like-minded, that are honest, that keep it real. Like every day is not going to be a great day, and I know that, right? But I can make each day the best that I can make it with the
Yeah.
situation that I got. That's the
Hmm.
difference.
Yeah.
It's
And
not going to be great. And I'm okay
yeah.
with that. Coming to
Hmm.
that realization is important,
Absolutely.
you know? Um,
You start finding out too that you are more comfortable around those people who you find are authentic, because
yes,
we got people around us and in our circles,
yes.
and they may not be in our immediate circles, but in our circle of profession are
Hmm.
people who we have to network with. When you start being able to spot
Right.
authenticity quick,
Well,
you
here's the
know.
thing. And you also spot people that are not, you know,
Yes.
what is it? Oh, I'm sorry. What was the word?
Authentic.
Authentic. Right. And you back yourself away because for whatever reason, my intuition will tell me I'm at the point that I have reached such a, I would say, different dimension that I
Hmm.
can feel people's energy. And I know when people are not for me, I will back away or I'll
Back
get
away.
silent. And I'm an extrovert. I'll
Hmm.
talk and laugh and giggle, but I can feed and feel people's energy. So I back away. Or even
Absolutely.
if a work
Absolutely.
environment, a professional environment, I'll keep it to a minimum because I feel their energy. I know
Yeah.
these people are not for me, and that's part of me using my intuition. So let's recap because I didn't realize we're getting so late in this segment today. So let's recap about setting boundaries, practicing mindfulness, keeping it real. Talking about practice self-acceptance. We talked about intuition. What else did we talk about? Knowing yourself, loving yourself,
Knowing
being honest with
yourself.
oneself.
Yes.
Stop being a puppet.
Hmm.
Anything else you want to recap while we got a minute or so? Um,
No, I think you hit on everything. I just want to challenge people. That's my
yeah,
thing. I just want to challenge people to, if you feel that you are not being your authentic self, start putting yourself in positions that may make you a little bit uncomfortable so you can
yeah.
figure out where the authenticity will kick in,
Mm-hmm,
what
mm-hmm.
triggers it, because I
Yeah,
promise you, once you start poking at it, you're going to
yeah.
understand that, once you get a little taste of it
Mm-hmm.
and that's who you are,
But
it
really,
sets
why?
you free.
But
It
why
sets
are you
you
doing
free.
it?
Why
Understanding
are
why
you?
are you doing it? That's exactly
Because
why you're doing it.
yeah,
You know?
because like we mentioned earlier, it's emotionally draining
Yes,
to have
yes,
on all those different characteristics. And
yeah.
I'm just gonna be 1,000% honest. I am happier in who I am
Mm-hmm. Yep.
when I am being true to myself. It feels
Yes,
better on the inside when I
yes.
make decisions that align with me, when I say no to decisions that don't align with me or don't
Exactly.
align with my passion or don't
Exactly.
align with the direction and my goals and where I'm
Yes.
going, it
Yes.
feels good to say
It
no.
does. It does feel
I
very
used to
good.
feel guilty to say no because it wasn't
Mhm.
about me. It was about pleasing whatever my boss wanted me to do or
Yes.
whatever role I
Yes.
was taking on at the time, whatever delivery I was supposed to be implementing for them. And if
Yeah.
I said no, I felt guilty. Now,
Interesting
when
that
I
you say that. That's
yeah,
interesting that you said
now
that.
when I say no, it feels good because I know it's not aligning with what I have in here and who I am.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I challenge you to do it for yourself, for
Absolutely.
growth, and
And say
so that you
no.
can start
Say
becoming
no.
centered with who you
Yeah.
are and align with who you are.
But you know what? Let me add to that real quick. I believe when you say no, sometimes you don't need an explanation. Don't feel obligated to have an explanation when you say because you don't have to do that. And be
Right.
okay with not giving an explanation, or saying no, thank you, or whatever the situation is. So add to what Kim is saying, but don't feel obligated to say or explain yourself why you're
Don't,
saying no.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't have to do that. You don't owe anybody an explanation
Usually
but yourself.
when you're being authentic with yourself and you say no, that's good enough.
Good
You
enough.
don't owe
Right.
anybody anything. You've answered who it's important to. Once you reach that authentic self, once you
Yes.
reach your true self, when you tell somebody, I can pick up the phone right now and say, no, you know what? I'm not gonna make it. And I'm good with it. No explanation of why not. Why not?
No. Or you don't, or I don't agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of times when I was in my work setting or a professional setting, and the higher, like two people above me, three people above me, made a statement, and then I just raised my hand and said, "No, I disagree." I disagree with you. I don't think that you're looking at the perspective that you need to look at, and it doesn't matter who you're saying no to. You know what I mean? You have to
Yeah.
stand in your own truth, and it was times that people didn't stand with me, and I was okay with that. But here's the thing: the outcome was that I won. I
Yeah.
won because they saw that I stood by myself and that my rationale for saying no made way more sense. It's just that they wasn't using common sense for
Agree.
whatever they were doing. You know what I mean? They would,
Agree.
but I say use common sense. So
Hmm.
I'll go ahead and put a blog out there to kind of recap the things that we talked about today. And also, I look forward to networking, talking. You like, subscribe, share, let people know that we're here. Again, this is the Unleashed podcast. Kimmy, I'm so happy that you're here with me. Let's keep doing this great thing. And guys, keep your week positive. Keep striving for excellence. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye bye,
Bye.
everyone. Have an awesome
Bye.
week.
Bye.